Welcome on in to a Fri-yay. That's right. I went all in on Fri-yay today. It is February 6th of 2026, and we have an announcement to make. And you know, I take my announcements very seriously, Joan. Number one.
There you go.
Sam made it to work today.
Thank you.
Nice job, Sam.
Thank you very
We're
much.
so proud of you.
We are, you know, Sam, baby steps, buddy. Baby steps. So just very briefly, Sam, let me make this other announcement to save people from sending all kinds of queries to the super text line, which is open, 615-737-9986. The company is working on the experience for Super Talk TV. They are working to improve the experience of Super Talk TV. As everyone knows, my superpower for the last, month has been that I'm able to slow really down and then speed right up, right? We've been lagging. We've been stuttering. We have sucked on Super Talk TV. And so the powers that be are finally deciding to take a look at it and try to fix it. But to do that, they've had to shut it completely down. Now, I'm no IT genius. As a matter of fact, I don't even know how to turn on most computers. So I'm just going to leave it to the experts. They have ordered some stuff. Apparently, it is coming from India via camel. And so it'll be here probably next week. And then they're going to try to rebuild the computer and do all the things necessary that they need to do to improve the experience for the Super Talk TV watcher. Joan?
Am I a watcher?
Oh, I don't know. You were going to say something, and then I ran right over you.
It's good. It's good.
Okay, good. So that's what's happening with Super Talk TV. Now, I can't wait to see what they do to improve the experience, because it's hopefully by the time this whole thing is over with, we won't have the lagging, and they'll make some other improvements as well, some upgrades in the equipment. So we're all looking forward to, seeing when that happens. And right now, though, if you still want to hear WTN, you can. We are currently sending the audio to the YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Twitch and all that. Correct, Sam?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So anyway, I'm hopeful that this is one step backward to make 3 steps forward here in the next several weeks when it eventually gets back online.
I still think that people are going to be very, very disappointed.
Well, they can't see Joan.
Yeah.
So,
or your now classic and timeless reaction of not getting one of my jokes.
There's that too. Well, Joan, this is where Mandis makes it creepy. So, Joan, everybody wants to know, what are you wearing?
Pajamas.
Of course, because Joan is at home today.
Yes.
So, anyway, so that's where we are with Super Talk TV. Sam, very quickly, and then we're going to get down to business, because once again, Justin Pearson has proven himself to be a race baiter and a liar, and we've got that story for you coming up. But Sam, real quick, famously, you did not show up for work yesterday. What happened?
Well, I don't want to say it was for a bad reason, but I fell asleep at the kitchen counter working on a sound effects assignment for my audio mastery class, and I left my nice comfy headphones on. And so as the hours rolled by and the phone calls came in and the alarms went off, I heard none of it, which I'm pretty sure is a city somewhere.
All right, so that's it. I mean, that happens to everybody. And
You fell asleep sitting up?
At the counter, leaned over, kitchen counter on the stool,
Wow.
Most men could fall asleep anywhere. That's part of our condition,
I fell asleep.
Another superpower.
I work with a radio host who happens to sleep on the couch in the office when the hotel is too loud because of children.
Yes. I fell asleep in a restaurant one time. Longtime listeners know this, but I fell asleep in a restaurant with my family, right? So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're in I forget what restaurant it was, but I fell asleep in the middle of dinner. You know what they did to me, Joan? They left me there.
They did not.
I woke up and it's like, where the hell? And I'm looking around, and people are laughing.
Oh, my gosh.
Because they saw that, I fell asleep, and my family very quietly scooted out of the booth and skedaddled while I just sat there with my nose on my chest. That's what they did.
Man. This was, I'm assuming this was your ex-wife.
Nuh-uh. Yes, but I thought it was very funny, actually.
Is that before or after turning 50? Because, there's an excuse after a certain point.
That was probably late 40s. Mid-40s.
Right there on the threshold.
Man, time flies. Mid-40s.
Yeah.
Maybe early to mid-40s.
My father's guilty of the same thing.
Okay, very good.
Age, so, yeah.
And guys, does John fall asleep anywhere and everywhere, Joan?
Like everywhere.
Yeah.
He famously, after dinner, the coffee cup in hand, sit down in the chair with the coffee cup in hand, spilling it ever so slightly toward him as he nods off, and I have to rescue the cup.
Amy has done that. I mean, Amy has done exactly that, where she's like, oh, crap, he's falling asleep, but he's got the coffee in his hand, and she'll just, gently take the coffee cup out of my hand and put it on my little tray thing next to me, just like Grandpappy Dan. All right, Grandpappy Dan.
Oh, I love it.
The funny thing is, I've got actually these days more energy than I've ever had. And I don't know if it's, not to get into all this stuff, but I'm living better. I'm far happier in life now than I have ever been at the age of 58. And, as long as I'm going to bed at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, everything's fine. All right, so Justin Pearson, real quickly. Let's do traffic real quick. It's 5:13, a little bit early, but let's do traffic because I want to get into. Check out my Facebook feed at Dan Mandis Show. We, of course, as we've gone through, we can't show the video, but I'm going to describe for you what is going on in this video that Justin Pearson, he's basically accusing the Tennessee Highway Patrol of running over some protesters. And so welcome the Tennessee Highway Patrol, who has now released the video, and it shows the complete opposite. Apparently, Justin Pearson on his Facebook page said something, and he posted a video, if you can find it, great. If not, whatever. But what he accused the Tennessee Highway Patrol of doing is running over these protesters. And so this was one of those situations where the Tennessee Highway Patrol, of course, everybody starts screaming. And here's what he said. The Tennessee Highway Patrol, this is from an X feed. Let's see here. The Tennessee Highway Patrol is releasing dash cam video from this incident in question in the interest of transparency and to allow the public to assess the facts for themselves. So as Pearson is accusing the THP of running these guys over, the video shows this, and again, you can see it on my X feed. 3 men standing in front of the moving vehicle and daring the ICE patrol, the Tennessee Highway Patrol vehicle, to basically run them over. So this car is going like 5 miles an hour. It is like a 17-second video. You can see it on my X feed at Dan Mandis Show. And they're just standing there, won't move, as the vehicle is moving 5 miles an hour. These guys were not run over. These guys clearly were not, injured in the case either. And so this is, of course, Justin Pearson doing what Justin Pearson does, and Justin Jones and, Gloria Johnson and all of these, various race baiters that we have in the Tennessee state legislature, where they're trying to stir up trouble, is what they're doing. They're trying to stir up trouble. And for, Justin Pearson, I would like to know if he is going to apologize to the Tennessee Highway Patrol after he said that a person was, quote, run over by a state trooper during that anti-ICE protest.
I think he deleted the video.
Did he delete the video?
I saw it. He was in his office. It was on his phone. He was bragging about it. He submitted a formal request into the investigation of the trooper that struck someone with their vehicle, and now I can't find it.
You know, when somebody deletes the video, it means they lost, right?
Yeah.
I mean, is that basically what that means?
He saw the clown nose in the corner of his office and said, I might need to take this post down.
I don't know why. You know, why is it these guys are wanting to stir up trouble? I don't know. Because it only looks bad on them, right? It only looks bad on them. We need to, I'm telling you, whenever we talk about the Justins or Glojo or some of these other folks in the Tennessee state legislature, you have a button bar in there, right? This is a little radio lingo for you, friends, a button bar. We need to have just a button bar for clown music so that every time a Democrat comes up, we can play the clown music, because I think that personally it's kind of funny, actually, because what do we always say about the Democrats these days? It is an absolute clown show.
What a ridiculous clown show.
It's exactly right. Pearson says that the individuals were, quote unquote, hit by the Tennessee Highway Patrol. By the way, if you see this on my X feed at Dan Mandis Show, you'll see that I said I would have run their ass over, but it wouldn't be worth the hike in my insurance rates, so I wouldn't have. But yeah, you can find it on my X feed.
I think you might dent the RAV4 in that capacity. It doesn't have the nice cattle guard on the front, and those protesters were rather rotund.
One of those guys actually looks like you, Sam, as a matter of fact. So anyway, so I'm glad. And you know what? This goes right back to, didn't we speak about this yesterday? About the ICE and Border Patrol law enforcement agents that go into places like Minnesota wearing video cameras, right? Isn't it a good idea that video cameras, these agents wear video cameras? Because 99.9% of the time, it does show the troopers or the law enforcement doing the right thing. Joan, can you ever think of a time when a body camera, I'm sure it's happened, but where a body camera has actually shown the lawmaker doing something wrong or the law enforcement officer doing something wrong? Like every time that I've seen video, it is exonerated the law enforcement officer. I
thought the hands up, don't shoot guy, Michael, whatever his name was. I thought that body camera video.
Brown.
Ferguson, Missouri, Michael Brown.
Yeah, so that officer had his body camera footage running, and I thought it exonerated him totally, and he was still convicted. So, even with body camera video, I'm not so sure that this is the answer, the end-all, be-all.
No, and you're right. I'm by the way, looking at... Okay, so I'm reading some of the comments on this. Apparently, so one of the things that Justin Pearson said was a gentleman had gotten bumped into two individuals who were hit, and I'm air quoting here, two were hit, with one going to the hospital and being diagnosed with post-concussional syndrome.
Oh, my gosh.
The dude didn't even fall to the ground. I love that the THP have released, all of this video footage because it shows the absolute BS. And again, you know what? If somebody ends up getting hit by a car and they actually end up with post-concussional syndrome, you know what? My 2 cents on that is deal with it.
Would you like to know more about concussion syndrome and the criteria required to diagnose it?
Sure.
It's a clinical assessment of a history of head trauma followed by the development of at least 3 symptoms across cognitive, physical, and emotional domains, such as headache, dizziness, fatigue, irritability, and memory issues. All things that I'm pretty sure you can sit on a table and fake.
Yeah, of course. And that's obviously, the lawsuit's going to start, right? The lawsuit's going to start. So we got a lot more straight ahead. By the way, coming up, we've got more on the NAS. This is a story that is never going to go away. So we've got more on NAS. We've got yet another state that is riddled with Somali fraud. We've got that for you as well. Governor Lee, I don't know if you've seen this, but Governor Lee was a last-minute substitution at the National Prayer Breakfast to be the keynote speaker. I've got excerpts from this incredible speech that Governor Lee gave. Joan, I dare you not to cry. I got to tell you, Scott Bessent is becoming my all-time hero.
I just love him more now than I did before.
Yeah, so, and when I say all-time hero, don't take me too seriously, but I mean, he is deliberately trolling. It was earlier in the week, it was the House of Representatives. Now he's taken to the Senate. Now, remember that we were talking, Joan, about Senator Chris Van Hollen?
Yes.
Out of Maryland. Mm-hmm. And he is, of course, Margarita Chris, right? He's the one that went to go have margaritas with Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Yeah. Maryland man, right? So now you've got Scott Bessent in front of this committee in the Senate, and they're supposed to be apparently talking about finances and that kind of a thing, financial security and oversight. But here comes Chris Van Hollen demanding that Scott Bessent, who is the Treasury guy, apologize for Alex Preddy's death. Didn't go well for Chris Van Hollen. Listen to this.
I want to give you a chance to retract a statement that you made on national TV. Alex Preddy was shot 10 times and killed by federal agents in Minneapolis. The administration, some administration called him a, quote, domestic terrorist. You suggested that Alex Preddy was culpable in his own killing because he had a gun in his waistband holster, which he was licensed to carry.
Do you think, Chris Van Hollen here, do you think he's going to mention the fact that Alex Preddy was known to the local law enforcement there as a guy who was constantly going after them, attacking them, screaming in their face, spitting on their vehicle and kicking out their taillight? Do you think that Chris Van Hollen is going to mention any of that? No, probably not.
When asked, you said, quote, I'm sorry this gentleman is dead, but, and you went on to say he had a weapon, suggesting that he was culpable in his own killing. So, Mr. Secretary, today, would you like to retract that statement?
I would not. And would you like to express remorse over the death of Ashley Babbitt here in the Capitol?
Oh, I have expressed remorse over that. So I've done that, Mr. Secretary. Mr. Secretary, please don't. So you think I have other questions, but I actually would have expected you to take this opportunity to rephrase your response to that question.
This is grandstanding, right? I mean, this is just Chris Van Hollen trying to score political points on the death of Alex Preddy.
So you think the fact that he legally had a gun justified his killing?
I didn't say that at all.
You said, do you think he was culpable, partly to blame in his own killing because he had a gun?
I did not say that.
I'm asking you a question now. Do you believe he was in any way culpable for his own killing because he legally carried a gun?
Again, this is an FSOC hearing.
Yeah.
So,
but you're the Secretary of the Treasury.
Why don't we talk about financial stability and oversight?
Listen, Scott Bessent is absolutely right. And I don't know exactly what it is that Scott Bessent had to say about the death of Alex Preddy. But the reality is that there was some information that went out early that was inaccurate. But for Chris Van Hollen, I mean, I don't know what it is that Scott Bessent said, but what I will say is that, yeah, you know what? Alex Preddy put himself in harm's way. You know what? This is such an old, stupid, anybody at this point, is there anybody whose mind is not made up about the death of Alex Preddy? Anyone at all? Mine is made up. He put himself in harm's way. I agree with Donald Trump. I hate when anyone is needlessly and unnecessarily killed. But sometimes, unfortunately, people do stupid things and they win stupid prizes. By the way, speaking of which, real quickly, we've been outlining the fraud in Democrat-run states like California and Minneapolis. And now, of course, we are getting information on even more fraud in Maine. Now, you'll remember that I presented a story to you a couple of weeks ago about what was going on in Maine, in Portland, Maine, and I think the other place is called Lewiston, Maine, where they've got all these doctors' offices, and these doctors' offices are literally empty. Some of them don't even have names on the door. But these offices are collecting money from the federal government for treating patients. This was on Newsmax.
According to multiple reports in the Maine Wire, African immigrants who do not speak English in many cases and have no experience in health care are allegedly stealing millions of taxpayer dollars from the state by taking a 50-hour course to care for elderly Americans and then billing the government.
Yeah, that's Rob Finnerty over on Newsmax. And it is so predictable, right? So what do all of these stories have in common? There's two things, actually. Two things that these stories all have in common. Number one, you've got either illegal immigration or legal migration, but either way, we're getting ripped off. And number two, you've got corrupt, fraudulent Democrats that are allowing this to happen. Now, in the state of Maine, you've got a governor and a state legislature, both run by Democrats. All of their representatives in Congress, the House of Representatives, there's only two, but their congressional representatives are also Democrat. They do have one Republican senator, Susan Collins, who you could argue that she's a Democrat, but whatever. She's not very MAGA. And an independent who rolls with the Democrats. So, in other words, essentially, Maine is a Democrat state. Certainly when you look at the local politicians, clearly they are. Now, we're talking about $45 million in improper payments, $45 million. Now, again, we've talked about Maine before. We already know that there is a significant Somali population in the state of Maine. And just like in the state of Minnesota, you are talking about a lot of political power in Maine as far as the Somali population goes. So, in other words, it's the same deal that we saw in Minnesota, now in Maine. And now they're trying to figure out what in the world is going on. So Newsmax ends up interviewing the only media outlet reporting on all of this, the Maine Wire.
Are these people actually providing the care and then billing the government, or is this similar to what we've seen in Minneapolis with the Somalian fraud?
In many cases, no, but in some cases, unfortunately, yes. They're providing some semblance of care, but it really boils down to neglect and abuse. It would be better if the patients were fake in some of these homes, because the conditions that they're living in that have been described to me by eyewitnesses and people familiar with these operations are inhumane and deplorable. But I think it's important to understand that there's a diverse array of fraudulent operations happening in Maine. We have home care agencies that are essentially just P.O. boxes that send invoices to the Department of Health and Human Services and get paid.
Yep, that is a guy named Steve Robinson from the Maine Wire. And basically, again, same story. Somali pirates, I'm calling them pirates, ripping off the state through the healthcare agencies. And he also spoke about these homes, these healthcare homes. They sound like convalescent homes. They sound like where old people go when you can't take care of them anymore, also disabled people as well, that actually have, adults in there, elderly and disabled. They're cutting corners so horrifically that these conditions are terrible.
The residential care facilities where actual houses are being operated under the guise of providing care for disabled adults. Wow. And there are real adults in those houses, but they're cutting corners and they're overworking their employees. So you have employees sleeping and neglecting the people they're supposed to be taking care of. So we have multiple different programs, multiple different forms of fraud. And just last week, the Office of Inspector General at the Department of Health and Human Services issued a report saying that in 2023 alone, Maine improperly billed $46 million worth of Medicaid payments to the federal government.
I mean, that is huge. So these homes have seen, listen to this, because imagine if this is, your parent. We've seen medication errors, residents wandering off, resident-on-resident sexual abuse, and, of course, you have all of these things that have been going on. the state isn't doing anything about it. The state doesn't even want to, it seems, to do anything about it. You know what they do? The state of Maine, they find out about these things because there have been some investigations into this. And all the state does is they say, oh, we just need to see some corrective action. As residents are wandering off and medication errors are taking place. It's incredible. Making sure that it doesn't happen again, and it keeps happening. It does continue to happen. Now, we were telling you about J.D. Vance and how he is now, it seems to me, would you call J.D. Vance like the corruption czar or the fraud czar? What would you call him?
Isn't that what he was just named?
What?
The fraud czar?
Okay, so they're calling him the fraud czar?
I like to refer to him as Mr. Transparency.
Why Mr. Transparency?
He's kind of been the only figure that hasn't had any gaffes, goofs, or anything of the like during this go-around of the Trump administration 2.0. You can't really point to something he said or done and mock him with it unless you're
unless you're
screwy.
Unless you're one of those cat people where he talked about the what was it, the childless cat ladies? Remember that from way back when?
He embraces the memes about himself and all that.
Oh, absolutely.
He can't
laughs
be made fun
at himself.
Of. Mr. Transparency.
Actually, and just not to derail you here, but the president has actually named Colin McDonald, whoever that is, to be the lead on a new DOJ unit called the National Fraud Enforcement. But he's got to be confirmed by the Senate. I didn't even know this. The role will have nationwide jurisdiction over the issue of fraud, according to Vice President J.D. Vance. So I think J.D. is kind of leading it right now. Maybe when this guy gets confirmed by the Senate, all heck will break loose.
Maybe J.D. is going to be like I don't want to say a figurehead because I think that J.D. will be hands-on. But I think it's going to be great that he is going to be, at the very least, somebody who talks a lot about this before we find out who is going to be leading this. This is what J.D. Vance said about the Childhood Leering Center? Is that what they called it, the Leering Center?
Mm-hmm. You're leering, and I think Minneapolis just really revealed how ridiculous it was. I mean, Jesse, this is the most low IQ fraud scheme imaginable. Like, it's almost shocking that you would have people running a daycare with the Quality Leering Center. If you're running a daycare and you can't spell the word learning or you can't spell the word kids, that suggests that maybe you should not be in early childhood education. And the fact that it was so obvious and so blatant does suggest a level of political corruption.
And here's the do you know what's amazing about that whole Quality Leering Center story? They never bothered to fix it.
No, they did.
Like how long did it say Quality Leering Center before Nick Shirley found it? Then they fixed it.
Yeah.
But how long had it been Quality Leering Center?
Since its inception.
Right. And how long had that been? I mean, I have no idea.
Years,
but
yeah.
I mean, if you left that sign, Quality Leering Center, up there, clearly you don't care. And clearly you are arrogant and you don't believe that you're going to get caught. So now, Colin McDonald, let's hear about him.
Colin McDonald named an assistant attorney general for fraud enforcement a week ago. Apparently this was announced. McDonald is currently serving as an associate deputy attorney general at the Department of Justice and has worked as a federal prosecutor, according to his LinkedIn profile. But the really funny part is the way Time magazine wanted to title it. Trump names first ever fraud czar, raising concerns of politicized investigations.
All right.
Spare me your selective outrage.
So we'll see how it goes. But there's a lot of fraud out there. I mean, you want to talk about low-hanging fruit? California, Minneapolis, now Maine. I'm positive there's fraud that is going to be found in a place like Illinois, Chicago, Illinois. Ohio is another one. They talk about Columbus, Ohio, right? So there's going to be a lot more to come on this. This is not going away. And honestly, I think that the Republicans would really be smart to, just from a political standpoint, you continue these investigations all the way into the midterm elections because, again, what do all these stories have in common? Democrats.